Transportation within the Walt Disney World Resort is a massive system that usually runs like a well-oiled machine, picking guests up from one of the many resort hotels and transporting them to many entertainment offerings across the Central Florida location. Here, we will outline the many different modes of transportation within the resort, as well as look at some previous modes of transportation at the Walt Disney World Resort. The Disney Monorail system offers guests staying at the Disney Grand Floridian, Disney's Polynesian, and Disney's Contemporary Resort quick access to the Magic Kingdom theme park, as well as the Ticket and Transportation Center, a central hub for most of the transportation needs of guests of the Walt Disney World Resort. The monorail travels along a central beam, offering a train-like air-conditioned ride around the aforementioned resort hotels and stopping at the Magic Kingdom. An additional monorail track leads to the Epcot Center and is accessed at the Transportation and Ticket Center. The monorail is not affected by weather and will continue to run, rain or shine, which is important in the Central Florida weather. The next mode of transportation is the Friendship Boats and Ferries. Offering picturesque views of the man-made Seven Seas Lagoon, guests can board the ferry to Magic Kingdom with alternative routes to Disney's Polynesian, Grand Floridian, and Contemporary resorts. Additionally, other Disney resorts and theme parks may offer boat transportation to Epcot Center and Disney's Hollywood Studios located on Crescent Link, including Disney's Boardwalk Resort, the Yacht and Beach Club, as well as Disney's Swan and Dolphin resorts. The ferry boats offer a quiet trip aboard the open-air vessel from destination to destination. Unfortunately, given the very nature of the ferry boats and Central Florida's weather patterns, the ferry boat will shut down for high winds, heavy rain, and thunderstorms in the area. Therefore, the next mode of transportation is used as backup to the ferry boats when needed. The most reliable and most common mode of transportation is the Disney bus system. The Disney buses offer air conditioning and the most direct transportation option from resorts to theme parks. Guests will wait at their resort bus stops for the correct bus to pull up heading to their destination of choice. The longest a guest should wait is around 20 to 25 minutes. Then they will board the large capacity bus and disembark at their location. On their return trip, they will head to their numbered bus stop to return to their resort destination. With over 20 options of resort hotels at the Walt Disney World Resort, this is the busiest method of transportation available. The last of the transportation methods offered at Disney is the Disney Skyliner system. This is a gondola-style system that takes guests high above the ground on a cable system, taking them from Disney's Pop Century Resort, Disney's Caribbean Beach, and Disney's Riviera Resort to Epcot Center and Disney's Hollywood Studios. This newest mode of transportation has been operating for just under 2 years and has been a great success with the reduced wait times for guests to travel between these destinations as the Skyliners run on a consistent basis. Other modes of transportation around the Walt Disney World Resort are taxicabs and rideshare services like Uber and Lyft. When the schedule of the previously mentioned modes of transportation are not suitable for their needs, guests will order these services. If a guest is running late for a dinner reservation or wants to be at a theme park prior to the operating schedule of the buses, boats, monorail, and Skyliner, then ride, share, or taxi services are going to be what best accommodates them. All guests of the Walt Disney World Resort may use any of the Disney transportation offerings, including guests staying at one of the 20 resort hotels, and guests visiting the theme parks or Disney Springs just for the day. This whole system runs on the idea that all guests should be able to visit all parts of the Walt Disney World Resort as they please. This can also lead to longer lines for transportation, and this is taken into account. Typically, additional buses are dispatched to help any longer than normal waits. Now, let's shift gears into past offerings of transportation at the Walt Disney World Resort. There are two that we'll focus on today. The first was a train service that opened in the 1980s within the Fort Wilderness Campground Resort. This train would transport guests who opted for a more outdoorsy room accommodations at the campground and allow for an easy way for campers to get from the front to the back of the over mile-long campground. The trains were shut down in the early 1990s, and the train tracks were removed and replaced with roads when the campground expanded to include cabins, as well as a new internal bus shuttle system to better assist guests traveling within the campground. In its later years, the train was known to have increased downtime and maintenance issues, leading to its closure. Although the train tracks were removed, the train cars themselves were repurposed shortly thereafter as ticket booths at the then Pleasure Island area of downtown Disney. Then they were completely moved when Disney Springs took over downtown Disney. The other transportation offering of the past to touch on here is the Disney minivan service. Operating for just a little over 2 years and shut down more recently after the COVID-19 pandemic, the service operated like a typical rideshare service like Uber and Lyft operates. Disney World Resort guests would be able to order a Minnie Mouse themed SUV to pick them up from anywhere in Walt Disney World and drop them off at any destination within Walt Disney World. This being the most convenient of all the transportation offerings, this service was at additional cost, where all the other services were free. When the uncertainty of the COVID-19 pandemic struck, the service was cut due to not being able to accommodate socially distanced guidelines and a major drop in the tourism in the area. In conclusion, the Walt Disney World offers many forms of transportation within its resort to allow guests a seamless way to travel between the destinations across the 43 square miles of Central Florida. Implementing these various modes of transportation means a reduced number of vehicles on the road and less traffic all around the immediate area. When guests come to the Walt Disney World Resort, they know that they will always have a way to get around within the resort and that their next magical memory is only a bus, boat, monorail, or Skyliner ride away.